Judaism can be understood as a religion, as an ethnicity, as a culture. So, what do you think is the core of Jewish identity?
Duh. Small question.
You get that one. You get that one.
What is at the core of Jewish identity? So the when we in that list of religion, ethnicity, whatever, all these things, I always like to make sure civilization is included. So Mordechai Kaplan writes about Judaism as a civilization, and I really think that that's there's something really key about that. Judaism is a religion in which your entire identity can be built around matzo ball soup, and that might be your only connection to. It's never the only connection to Judaism, but like what matzo ball soup means to you and means to you in relation to your family, that might be your main source of your Jewish identity. And I am okay with that. I also really like matzo ball soup. So I think for me, the core of Jewish identity is a combination of kind of these three things, like God, Torah, and Israel. And by Israel, I mean the people of Israel. So it's an understanding of God, and that understanding of God may be in flux. It may be an agnosticism. It may be a conflicting relationship with God. It may be an angry relationship with God. But there's some way in which God is part of your understanding of the world. That's one aspect of Jewish identity. God, Torah, meaning the story of the Jewish people, right? Feeling some connection to the history of the Jewish people, what it means to have been slaves in Egypt, what it means to have been persecuted, but also like super inventive, amazing traveling people over time, what it means to be descended from people and to have traditions that you can trace back centuries and centuries and millennia. Right? So God, Torah, and then Israel. And when we talk about Israel, people often get confused because there is now a state of Israel, but there has only been a state of Israel since 1948. Long before there was a state of Israel, there was a people of Israel. Before there was ever even an Eretz, like a land of Israel, there was a people, Israel, Am Yisrael. And that community piece is the other kind of part of that triangle for me. So for me, the core of Judaism has to do with like some concept of oneness in the God space, some concept of history and tradition and storytelling in the second sense, and some connection to community in the third sense.
That is the best answer I've ever heard to that question.
I did go to school for a very long time to be a rabbi.